So I kind of changed my mind. Rather in this particular one, rather than doing a stripe, because I've actually just did 2 different stripes recently, and I want to do something a little different. So I thought I would do the dancing funnel method in this PVC pipe using that new hole that I told you about. Now there's one thing I want to clarify, because I did make this clear earlier. Use a funnel. It's really easy to miss the hole, your hand to shake, so just use a funnel. Now I suggest you cut your funnel so that it's not down in your soap. This one was I just grabbed this one as an example. But it really is handy for getting your soap in. And because you do have this liner here too, so you kind of have to bypass that liner a little bit. And a funnel just works really well, because if you just pour it in, it can land on the liner and splash and just make a mess. That was it. Okay, so anyway, I just decided rather than doing a stripe, and I'm going to tell you another reason why. In honesty, I need to tell you that I forgot and put my lye into my oil mixture instead of separating my oil mixture out along with my colors and then adding the lye individually like I know how to do. So it was just one of those oversights. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a stick blend, then put it into my colors. Now here's what my colors are. This is Sandalwood powder and Oatmeal. This is dark cocoa, and it's only cocoa, and it's organic cacao that has been ground. And then there is a little bit of activated carbon in there, just to darken that one so that it stands out against the sandalwood. And then here, this is simply yellow Brazilian clay. So this is a great mix for the skin. The sandalwood has such a nice smell, and I have added some patchouli essential oil into this, so it's going to be a great mix. I guess you can call it a hippie dude if you like. I kind of like that. I'm not necessarily a hippie dude. I was born during the times just before the hippies. But I did live in the Haight-Ashbury district for a time in my life, and loved it. I can have only good things to say about the city of San Francisco. I was actually raised just down the highway a ways in a town called Petaluma. At the time when I lived there, it was considered the egg capital and the arm wrestling capital of the world. I'm not sure that it still holds either of those titles now, but it did then. Okay, give me just a moment here to plug in my stick blender. There we go. And I'm going to I'm not going to give this a heavy whisking, because I want it to stay rather thin so that my layers can go in, because I'm going to pour each of these in alternating layers into the mold. Just want this to be just emulsified. And I think it's ready. Because if I know me, if if I don't take it out now, it will be thick as it can be, and I won't be able to work with it. So right. So I'm now going to pour it into each of my colors here. This is the Sandalwood and Oatmeal. This is the Cocoa and Activated Carbon. activated charcoal. I don't know why I call it carbon. All right. And our Brazilian yellow clay. Okay, let me get my spatula and just get that last bit out there. Just don't like to waste. And it makes it easier to clean up later. You know what I'm talking about. Dealing with all those oils. I wipe them out as best I can. Now I know some people use paper towels, and I'm not saying that I don't. I use them right here while, for quick cleanups. But I try to use I've been trying to use old sacks and bags and things like that, trying to reuse what I have, trying to do my little bit for the environment. Okay, which is very little, I admit. All right, so I'm going to give these, I don't want to use the stick on these because I just don't want them to thicken anymore. So I'm just going to give this a whisking here first. Oops, sorry about that. So again, this is the Brazilian yellow clay, and it feels so good on the skin. I don't know if you've used it. I think it's just terrific. The cocoa and the activated carbon. Boy, that's darker than I'd hoped. I didn't put that much activated carbon in there either. I guess the cocoa was a little bit darker. I knew, being just a one ingredient, just the cocoa, that it can vary, because I think this was a dark cocoa anyway, and then mixing that with the activated carbon gives a really, really dark brown. And then here we have the sandalwood and oatmeal. It'll be our lightest color here. Oh, and that smell of sandalwood as I stir this is just tremendous. And I'm afraid some of these colors are just going to be very similar, so I don't know how noticeable this will be. What I'll do is do them in layers. Well, you'll see in just a moment. So let me just get the spatula in there. Just make sure I've got all the color off the sides and off the bottoms. I just don't want any big clots to end up in our soap. Good, and it's staying nice and liquid too. I'm just wiping this because I don't want to make this first one much darker than it already is. Because all that is the sandalwood. Oh boy, that smells so good when you stir it. The sandalwood and the oatmeal. So this is going to be a great for the skin. Oh, and the oils, I forgot to mention. Okay, there's olive oil. There is coconut oil, of course. There is castor oil, cocoa butter, a little bit of shea butter, and what else? Mango butter. I forgot. All right. So, set these aside here. Move the mold in place. So what I'll do, actually, let me move the camera because I want you to be able to see the end of it as it fills. So just a moment, I'll rearrange the camera. Okay, I hope you can see the end here okay. I'm going to get my funnel and I'm going to start pouring in. So I'm going to start with the sandalwood color here. So just watch that in there as I pour in through the top, and you should start seeing it moving your way. I'm just pouring a little. Then I'm going to pour the next color, and that is the cocoa Nope, this is the, I don't know what this one, I'm sorry. I'll know it as a port. Oh, okay. This is the Oatmeal and Sandalwood. Then I'm going to pour a little bit more of just the sandalwood. You know what, I'm getting my descriptions confused here, but okay, and now I'm going to pour in the next one. I'm just going to pour these in and quit trying to describe them, because when I talk, I mess up. You know, I got thinking about this. I'm doing this a bit backwards, I think, because I'm not sure this design is going to show up lengthwise, but still, I think it's going to look great. So I'm going to go with it. Okay. Now I know for you this isn't that showy. The stripes are much more of a spectator sport, I think, because you can actually see the different stripes forming. You can't really see what's happening with this from your vantage point. You just see it rising, right? Okay. Hang on just a moment, I need to scrape out here this one. I know you can't see what I'm doing here, but take my word for it, I'm working quickly while it's still fluid, and it is staying nice and fluid, thank goodness. It is. It's going to be a little bit flat on one side. I didn't make enough oil. And it's funny, I know this recipe so well, and I know what I did. It was because I got that mango oil in, and I had reformulated my formula, and I left out the meadow foam oil. Just a boo-boo. It's okay. It's going to be a little bit flat on top, but it will still be a great soap. And actually, it might be in bed better because it'll stand up better. So I'll show it to you when I cut it. Thanks, everyone. Apologies. Don't they have kind of a burned wood-like quality to them? That's what they reminded me of. So I didn't get as many layers and variations as I'd hoped I would get, but so you can see that what I think happened here is that it was thinner when I first started pouring, so the layers, of course, spread out more, thinner. And then as it thickened more and more, well, you can see the result. But I'm pretty happy with them. They smell fantastic. And then here I had an issue with my camera. Sorry about that. See you back soon.